got more to talk about because we've been seeing a lot of friendly action this summer. Premier League teams back in action now in the summer series, and we will talk about the game between Arsenal and Newcastle in just a moment and bring you what happened in that game. But of course, all the talk afterwards to Eddie Howe was, where is Alexander Isak? And this is what he had to say.
Just a quick one on Isak's situation. Is there any update? Are you thinking about flying him out here at any point?
No, nothing's changed.
And just to clarify on Alex, is there any chance that he joins you out in Korea or here?
No.
Was pretty firm there. No, and no, Jules, he's going to Liverpool, isn't he?
I don't know if he's going to Liverpool, but he's been very clear with the club in the last few days with Newcastle that he wants to leave. And I don't know if we can talk about forcing a move, but it certainly feels like that. You saw the face of Eddie Howe. He knew the questions was coming, and the answers are very obvious. He said no, he doesn't want to be out there. He doesn't want to be with Newcastle. He doesn't want to take part in the Arsenal game, in the Arsenal friendly game today. He doesn't want to join them. He doesn't want to play for them anymore, which is an incredible situation, really, when you think about, we're talking about one of the best number 9s in the world. Whether he goes to Liverpool or somewhere else, we don't know yet. We talked about it about him going to Liverpool 2 days ago. Can they afford him to start with? Where would he play? Like, what do you do with Ekitike and Wirtz and etc. etc. So even to Liverpool is not that easy and not that simple. But I just hope for Alexander Isak that he's got another option than Liverpool, because if it doesn't happen to Liverpool, it would be very strange if he has to come back to Newcastle.
Now, Shaka, this has nothing to do with me bringing this up now, because the Newcastle manager himself, Eddie Howe, has been forced to discuss it once again. This is not my doing.
Too late. Too late, Kay.
It may not be her doing, but she seems to be enjoying it.
Bro, she's way too much. It's too late, Kay. The damage is already done. Listen, you understand Eddie Howe's position, or certainly how curt his answers were, kind of given the situation and the importance of Alexander Isak to Newcastle United. The amazing thing to this is, listen, it's nothing new about players wanting to move clubs, especially with this kind of interest, especially when you're talking about clubs like Liverpool, defending English champions, that list of favourites to win the Champions League. It makes an incredible amount of sense. But this just seemed to happen quickly and escalate even more so. In that, normally, these things kind of drag out a bit in terms of if I'm Alexander Isak and you have this interest, there's some suggestion, well, there's a new contract or some kind of negotiation going on with the existing club. And while Newcastle do not hold the pedigree or certainly the ceiling of a Liverpool football club, financially, they want to be able to compete, or you think they can or should be able to. But even that has not kind of materialized. So I understand Eddie Howe's kind of position, if his body language is, if I may be so bold, is to be understood correctly, that this is kind of come as a very sudden blow, and there's no stopping this at this point, which from a Newcastle perspective, of course, is disappointing.
To Jules's point, if it doesn't materialise a move to Liverpool, which is very much assumed what he's pushing for and what he wants, that's a problem for Newcastle and the player, right?
Yeah, it could be. Up until he shows up the first game of the season, scores a couple of goals, and then, hey, one of ours. He's been one of ours the whole time. Nothing to see here. Newcastle are in a position in which now they're just reacting to whatever Isak wants to do. And that's a very uncomfortable place to be if you're a club, because as now the window advances, you're wanting to see, okay, if indeed he's going to go, we need to have a contingency plan. We need to have something to react and time enough in this window to be able to react and replenish our team. You're not going to get the same level of player of Alexander Isak, but how do you go about addressing his potential absence? But you cannot address his potential absence if you don't have the funds available. And when does that become available? When he gets purchased by, in this case, Liverpool. And so it's a very uncomfortable position to be as a club. It's an even more uncomfortable position to be as a manager, because you're having to placate the media and you're having to answer these questions time and time again. Are you really having direct conversations with the player? At this point, probably not. And so you're depending on all sorts of things that are out of your hands. And yet, when that first game comes around in the Premier League season, Eddie Howe is expected to put a competitive team on the field with or without Alexander Isak. As for the fans, they may be hurt right now, but if Isak is part of Newcastle, first match of the season, and he goes on, as I mentioned earlier, to score the goals that he was able to score last season, forgive and forget, because you're fortunate, and you should consider yourself fortunate, Shaq, as a Newcastle fan, that indeed you were able to keep this player, whatever the circumstances may have been.